So how do we play together? There are a lot of different ideas out there about how we get an ensemble to interact and play cleanly together, but probably the most universal concept is a listen-in concept. What does that mean? Well, within each segment you have a section leader within the snares, tenors, bass drums. The snare drummers are going to listen in to the center, to the player closest to the center. So if you have 3 snares, the outside 2 snares are going to listen into the center snare. If you have 5 snare drummers, then the outer 2 are going to listen one in, while the other 2 are listening one in. It's not as complex as it may seem at first, but what we're doing is we're having them focus on that voice. And then we have one person who will make decisions for everyone. Let's say the tempo is needing to push a little bit, or if things are just slightly ahead, the center player can adjust that, and then things can become a little bit more solidified and stable with tempo. If you've got 5 different snare drummers making their own independent decision of where the ictus is happening to fall with the drum major, it could be kind of a weird scenario, and it can make for a really dirty sound in the drum line. So in general, section to section, we have focus. The tenors listen into the center tenor. The snares listen to the center snare. The one rule that's a little bit different is how it applies to the bass drummers, because they're playing a composite part anyhow, so they don't really listen into the center bass drummer. They're going to listen to the section that they're the closest to in the drill. And so that's how the tempo is going to work on the field. Now, there are a lot of exceptions to the rule. There truly are no absolutes. The students are moving around the field, and who knows where the drill writer is going to put them at a given moment. So there has to be an interaction between the center snare and the drum major. There has to be an interaction with the center quad and the drum major. Sometimes the center quad listens over to the center snare. You don't want to turn it into a complex series of formulas. Basically, once they start playing, they should just remain in time. But the fundamental concept here is that within the battery, the players are listening into their center player. One thing to keep in mind, most people don't understand this if you don't play a marching percussion instrument. But once the marching percussionists start to play, they really can't hear any of the other sections. So if the drum line gets ahead of the tempo, they can't hear the trumpets or the trombones to know that they're ahead of them because of all the sound that the drum line puts out. It's important that the drum major understands this and that there's an interaction between the drum major and the drum line. Tempo will start to work a little bit more consistently, and people will know how to make decisions of how to save a section if things start to become unglued from winds to percussion. With regard to the front ensemble, there are scenarios that become very complex, but in general, you want the players to listen in to the most easily heard instrument. Most of the time, that's the xylophone. You'll probably put your most experienced or talented player on the more difficult parts. So the xylophone and the marimba, those are where those types of things happen the most. However, if that isn't the case, sometimes you can listen to an ostinato part. Maybe that's on a hi-hat or a woodblock or a cowbell, something like that, where everyone can key in and listen to that one voice. In other instances, they're going to have to listen back in a different way. They never, though, want to watch the drum major to get tempo from them, because they're at the front of the field. Sound needs to come to them, and they play in time with that. So you have to take it instance by instance, but in general, they can listen to each other just as the battery listens within their segments to make timing work within that ensemble.